You're watching NFL Daily, presented by Manscaped. 20% off and free shipping on all of their men's grooming products, just in time for smooth sack summer. I'll tell you all about them and their products on today's show. Remember, 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/chat. We're doing one camp winner / standout across all the NFL teams so far. We'll break them down, and we'll go quicker since the majority of the answers are they've impressed. We'll discuss the impact and the why. But first, I want you guys to chime in. 2-part question. Shout out your favorite team for me and name a camp standout so far. Do that right now in the comments section. We'll group by division. We begin with a total unknown name. Joshua Bledsoe, the safety for the Patriots. Some injuries right now at the position. And Bledsoe, again, per like all the players' reports out of camp, consistently making plays. I think I speak for most non-Patriots, maybe even some Patriots fans. Not a name they were familiar with. After all, this is a 2021 6th-round pick out of Missouri. He is flashing, though, right now. It's going to keep an eye out for. The Buffalo Bills, how about receiver Isaiah McKenzie? Much has been made in the past about the impact of Gabe Davis' breakout year. Don't sleep on a McKenzie breakout year. Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley are gone. Consistent drum beats of praise. Always going to keep an eye out for McKenzie. Could be primed for a huge breakout season. Let's go to Breece Hall for the Jets. Thought about putting Zach Wilson, but he's more of a standout with his mom's friends than maybe on the field. But Breece Hall is primed for a big year and to be the lead back in New York. I like Michael Carter, but all the buzz coming out is that Breece Hall is that guy for the Jets. I think he's going to have a huge workload for the Jets this year at the running back position. The Dolphins and Jaylen Waddle next up here. You'd love it if it were Tua. Not quite the case there yet. But Waddle and Tyreek Hill form a dynamic and explosive duo at receiver, and Waddle's picked up where he left off last year. Get him the ball, and good things happen. Now, speaking of Tua and the Dolphins, I couldn't resist asking a big-time question. Is Tua the guy at quarterback for the Miami Dolphins? Why for yes and for no? If the ad break happens to come here on YouTube, it's perfect timing. Head down there and type in your Y for yes or your N for no. Defense now, Davion Taylor, the Eagles linebacker. This would be a huge deal for Philadelphia. They don't have a lot of truly proven linebackers beyond Kaiser White, hoping for Nakobe Dean. Taylor's got great athletic traits. If he can emerge, that's a huge positive sign for Philadelphia. Anthony Brown, the Cowboys corner, is next up here. He's been awesome at camp for Dallas, and head coach Mike McCarthy is heaping the praise on him. Quote, he's having a heck of a camp. Frankly, I'll be honest with you, he's picked up right where he left off last year. I think he is someone that should get more love from you guys, meaning media. That's just a suggestion. He's very, very consistent. Well, Mike, if you say so. I will make note, by the way, right now, the vast majority of these players are non-trench guys since the pads only just went on Monday for the majority of NFL teams. Kendall Fuller, how about this? Back-to-back corners, and apparently Carson Wentz has had some interception issues, but Fuller has led a very impressive secondary so far in camp for the Commanders. A dynamic duo of Fuller and Jackson would be a big deal for a Commanders defense that needs to bounce back and might be without Chase Young to begin 2022. Speaking of Carson Wentz, more quarterback questions here. What's your confidence level in Carson Wentz? Be honest with me. Scale it for me 1 to 100. 1 being he is a bum, he's terrible. You'd rather have that random English guy as your quarterback. 100 being he's the best quarterback ever. He's going to make all the haters look dumb. Scale it for me right now in the comments section. Kadarius Toney. This would also be huge news for the Giants after a bit of an up and down first year, some issues off the field. Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson drawing praise out of Jets camp, and I trust the new coaching staff for New York a lot more in terms of getting the most out of Toney. He was awesome against the Cowboys up until he punched DeMonte Casey in the face and got ejected. 10 catches, 189 yards. Problem is, the rest of the year, nothing. He didn't do anything. His yards per catch plummeted. He was an inconsistent piece. So hopefully Tony can get on in the right headspace. He's talented. I've always been worried more about the off the field, the focus, the injuries than the actual on-field talent. But so far, off to a great start in year 2. Now, if you want to have a great summer this year, it is, after all, smooth sack summer here at thanks to Manscaped. Use their top-of-the-line men's groom products. These are the leaders in below-the-belt grooming, and they want to make sure you have a ball this summer. Get it? Manscaped.com/chat, 20% off and free shipping when you head over and use that URL. Use the Lawnmower 4.0. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to have a bunch of unkempt hair and bush down there. It's just a bad time for all involved. So if you're not using Manscaped's products, maybe that's why you're not succeeding in the same way Zach Wilson is off the field. Manscaped.com/chat. Links in the comments section and in the description of today's show. You got to use their products. By the way, the boxers, these are the most comfortable boxers known to man. Check them out today at manscaped.com/chat. Our first offensive lineman, Jackson Carman, after being overweight last year, sounds like all things are going well for the Bengals' assumed starter at left guard. This would be huge. The Bengals are beginning to overhaul their offensive line. They've kept Jonah Williams at left tackle. Carman should be the left guard. They signed Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, Lyle Collins on the PUP list. By the way, that's a bit of a red flag, but we're talking positive today. Carman's in shape, drawing praise, working with the starters. That'd be huge for the Bengals and Joe Burrow's health. Rashad Bateman, the Ravens' likely number 1 receiver, is looking like a number 1. Lamar Jackson's drawn praise too. The Ravens are in desperate need of Bateman emerging because that receiving core is unproven and not the most talented group if we're being objective and honest about where things stand across the NFL relative to receiver rooms. I love Bateman coming out of Minnesota. I think this is going to be a massive year 2 breakout for the Ravens wide receiver 1. Let's go to a rookie now. George Pickens apparently is that guy, by the way. He's been impressive so far in terms of making plays, going up and winning above the rim a little bit there. He has benefited from a Chase Claypool injury, from the injuries and the hold-in of Deontay Johnson. Pickens looks good, and that's a great sign for a team that historically has done quite well drafting wide receivers early on. How about defense? Grant Delpit, the Browns safety. Injuries have always been a problem for Delpit in the past, and him breaking out would be a big deal for the Browns defense. When healthy, and we got to go back to like his second to last year at LSU, frankly, he's been impressive. He was a dynamic player at LSU, had his round 1 pick, fell to round 2, injuries, regression, all part of that. Hasn't been that guy yet, but he's off to a strong start in training camp. Now, we're not done covering the NFL, so make sure you hit that big red button and subscribe right here at Chat Sports. Whether it's news, rumors, camp, trade, preseason, draft, free agency, we are here all year long. Turn those noties on so you don't ever miss a video here at Chat Sports. The Darnell Mooney hype train continues along. Find someone who loves you like Bears Now host Harrison Graham loves Darnell Mooney. I have not told his wife how he feels yet, but I think we're getting close to that point here. Jokes aside, Mooney's been very impressive, and he's got to be wide receiver 1 for a Bears team that has some question marks at the wide receiver room. Let's go to Romeo Doubs, the Packers wide receiver. Maybe not the name you thought you'd see, but Christian Watson is on the PUP list, and Doubs is taking advantage of his elite name and the open reps with Watson missing some time. The Packers do not have a good wide receiver room. They don't. Alan Lazard is not really a 1. Randall Cobb's a shell of his former self. So is Sammy Watkins. There is a ton of unknown from that perspective. Doubs does fit, the 4th-round rookie, by the way, out of Nevada, does fit what Aaron Rodgers tends to like. Do not sleep on him this year. All right, Andrew Booth is next up. The Vikings well, number 2 draft pick, potentially young number 1 corner, maybe. Booth has been a big-time trash talker, and he's mostly backed it up in camp. Had a pick against Kirk Cousins / Justin Jefferson. Has been beat a few times by Jefferson, but that's also to be expected because it's Justin Jefferson. What are you going to do? But he's been impressive so far. Tough to earn a starting spot right away, but is on a very good path. Of all the names on this list, this one might be the most important for the player and the team involved. That is Jeff Okudah, the Lions' former first-round pick. Number 3 overall. Injuries have been bad. The play, when he's been healthy, has been a disaster. He has not remotely lived up to the hype. That needs to change this year. And so far, Okudah is off to a good start entering year 3 with the Lions. Barely played it all last year. Really struggled in year 1. We can blame confidence. We can blame injuries. But Okudah needs to emerge this year for the Detroit Lions. I want you guys now to shout out your favorite NFL player in the NFL. This is not, biggest camp guy, but just who your favorite player is. Drop that name for me in the comments section. Treylon Burks is next up here, the receiver for Tennessee. This is a big deal because he was not a standout at OTAs and minicamp. He was, when you listen to, out of shape. He was at asthma issues, weight issues, conditioning, whatever it was. He wasn't even that active. Now he is, and he's balling, consistently making plays, not missing reps. Good step forward for Treylon Burks. Paris Campbell, who has had some hype in the past, a former, second-round pick by Indianapolis, has had apparently good chemistry with Matt Ryan. If the Colts can get him going at slot receiver, that's a big step forward for the offense. Derek Stingley is next up here, the Texans corner. He's not having practice every day. They're bringing him along slowly, but when he's been out there, plays an INT already at camp and even got some punt return reps, which I find so interesting. Now, Stingley, Burks are rookies this year. Who do you think will be the best rookie in the NFL this year? Drop a name for me in the comments section. Travis Etienne is not technically a rookie, but might as well be. Missed all of last year due to injury. Now he's healthy. He is primed to be the lead back for the Jacksonville Jags with his old quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. And with James Robinson banged up, he's been impressing. With a hopefully competent offensive coaching staff, the Etienne hype is very real right now. How about a receiver for the Bucs? Russell Gage has looked awesome. Julio Jones has signed, but Gage is the favorite to be wide receiver 3 for Tampa. He signed with from the Falcons this year. The Bucs are high on him. Don't sleep on Gage this year. Another, maybe the biggest name on this list from a name brand standpoint is Michael Thomas, because he's healthy now. He's back at camp. After barely playing the past 2 years, Michael Thomas is out there running routes and looks good. A huge addition to the Saints offense, or return, I should say. A surprise name here, Elijah Wilkinson. He's on this list because he's beating out Jaylen Mayfield, which, by the way, is a huge yikes if Mayfield can't win the job over Elijah Wilkinson. But that's where we're at in the early stages right now of camp. I did this for you, Matt Corral, Golden Corral truthers. Matt Corral checks in here as the Panthers camp standout. Has apparently been one of, if not the first person to camp every single day. He's going about things the right way. And both Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold early on, some up and downs at this point. And I don't think Matt Corral is really going to win the job in Carolina. But if the veterans don't play well, maybe Carolina gives them a shot early. So pick a quarterback for me in Carolina. BM for Baker Mayfield. SD for Sam Darnold. MC for Matt Corral. Pick a quarterback right now in the comments section. Let's move to the AFC West now, our last 8 teams. Sky Moore, who I loved him at Western Michigan. I think he is going to thrive in the Chiefs' offense. I think he's going to be a fantastic football player. Great start to camp. You lose Tyreek Hill. Sky Moore is not Tyreek Hill. He's not. But he's going to be a good football player, I believe. Another guard, surprise name here, Lester Cotton, who is pushing very hard and a bit of a surprise emergence to be the right guard starter for Las Vegas. awesome for Cotton. Maybe a red flag for Vegas if it's not going to be Alex Lord, if he's your right tackle. But Cotton has drawn a lot of praise from the coaching staff, and in particular from quarterback Derek Carr. Justin Simmons looks almost better this year, which is kind of crazy in camp. He's already one of the best young safeties, playing great so far. The leader of that defense with Von Miller gone, off to an elite start at camp. Lesser name, Mark Webb. Derwin James is holding in, and the youngster Mark Webb is taking advantage, making some notable plays early on in camp. The Chargers drafted J.T. Woods in the 3rd round. Webb was a 7th-round pick last year out of Georgia. He's the one making splash plays early on. The AFC West is loaded. Who comes in last? Tricky question, I think. Type in LV for the Las Vegas Raiders, KC for the Chiefs, DEN for the Denver Broncos, or type in LAC for the LA Chargers. Final 4 teams. Rashad Penny over in Seattle. If he can stay healthy, he's so dynamic, but the if is a big part there. Penny banged up, not consistent, wasn't great. His first 32 games. The last 5, you can put that 5 up against almost every single running back in the NFL, and you're not going to find a better grouping. Now, Kenneth Walker's going to push for playing time, but Penny looks great so far. Charvarius Ward looks like a real cornerback 1, we've heard, for the 49ers. That's a big deal for them. They need the help. And Ward, the big-time off-season signing for San Francisco. Isaiah Simmons is now getting used properly. He's playing the star role for Arizona. That's linebacker, safety, edge, nickel, corner. He does all of it for him. Exactly where he should be. Simmons was productive last year. I do not think we've seen the best, though, out of Isaiah Simmons. Allen Robinson is next up here for the LA Rams. The Rams have hyped him and hyped him and hyped him. That's been the big common theme coming out of training camp. Van Jefferson's banged up, but A-Rob might look more like classic A-Rob than the guy we saw last year in Chicago.